Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 53 of Screw the Commute podcast. We got a great guest that goes way, way back with me. She had a successful business, and we worked together a little bit, and she took it to even higher levels, and she's been doing it ever since. So you can't wait to hear from Denise Wakeman. She'll be here in a moment. Now, hope you didn't miss episode 52, my Monday training session on affiliate selling. On this episode, I told you how you can start getting commissions immediately without developing your own product. So make sure you didn't miss episode 52. Today's sponsor is the Distance Learning School, the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. Don't even think about retraining yourself or sending your kids to college until you check out our webinar on higher education. I do not want you wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars and putting yourself and your kids under crushing debt. Hey, you could even tell your neighbors about it if they're thinking about higher education. And we'll have the webinar in the show notes at screwthecommute.com/53. This is episode 53. All right, let's get to the main event. Denise Wakeman's motto, and I was reading this, is just say yes. And I'm thinking, man, you got to watch that, Denise, depending on what I ask you. Okay. After a life-changing trek in the Andes, it's the mountains, I guess, the Andes Mountains, she embraced her inner adventurer and ditched the black business suits for a knapsack and hiking boots. As long as there's Wi-Fi, Denise is a happy camper. She's an early adopter and active experimenter. I'm not sure what that means. I'm going to have to ask what that means. And she loves helping authors and online entrepreneurs navigate the journey of growing their business on the web. Denise, are you ready to screw?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to say yes. See, you said it right in your introduction. Well, that's the right. Commute. Yes. The commute. I don't want you coming punching me out or anything. So, it's so good to talk to you. It's been a while. Tell us what you've been up to. What have you been doing lately?
Oh, pretty much, work-wise, the same thing that I've been doing for the last 20 plus years.
You're consistent,
mentoring
that's
and guiding.
For sure.
Yes, I am a very consistent person. Mm-hmm. It's just the message and the brand has changed a bit, and I'm traveling a lot more. Like
walking or driving?
In Peru.
Wow.
Both.
Wow.
Flying, hiking, etc.
I'll bet you get a good signal at the top of that mountain.
That's when I'm off the grid.
No, have you ever done any work from some odd, weird place like that? Or you just shut everything off when you're up at those places?
Well, I always try. I've got a mobile hotspot that I take with me because just in case, but because I always like to, that's the kind of experimenting I like to do.
Oh, okay.
But I spent a month in Peru and did a lot of hiking and just living in Cusco, Peru for a month and studying Spanish and doing my work from there. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So
that's my plan.
Did you climb a mountain?
Yes.
How high are the mountains? How high are the mountains there?
Well, the mountains in the Andes go up to, over 20,000 feet. The highest I have gone is over 15,000 feet.
Wow. Now you got to have oxygen for that, right?
Not for 15, but
really?
Some people might, but I didn't. No.
Yeah. But I mean, you live at sea level too, so it's a different shock from you than somebody that lives at a higher altitude. That's the. You have
to acclimate for sure. So,
but you're not by yourself, right?
Oh no! I go with a guide.
A guide.
I go with a guide.
A Sherpa? Is that what they call a Sherpa?
Well, in Nepal, they call them Sherpas, and I'm going to Nepal in 2 months for a
Wow.
2-week trek in the Himalayas. So to Annapurna Base Camp is where we're going.
You're
But
really
that's only about 13,000 feet.
You're really screwing the commute, that's for sure. Except when you take a commute, it's like what, 3,000, 2,000 miles or something, or 3,000. How far is it? No,
Yeah.
that's more than 2,000
Paul,
miles.
yeah, it's like it'll be a 24-hour flight because
Yeehaw.
the time difference is so big. It'll be, 24 hours. So,
Wow.
yeah.
What a lifestyle. You really built this.
Yeah.
When did you start doing that? Because I don't think you were doing that when I knew you, right? Or when I met you.
I wasn't doing it quite like that, no, but I realized that I've always loved to travel. I've traveled all over the world since I was a child. Our family traveled a lot, and it's always been in my DNA. And when I did the first trek in Peru, I've been 3 times to Peru. When I took the first one, I realized, you know what, this is what I want to be doing. So I need to work that into how I run my business and what the message of my business is. And so I am, even though my formal business name is still the Blog Squad, my brand is Adventures in Visibility.
I was going to say, I mean, how are you going to make this tax deductible? You got, there's a lot of money spent to get to these places, and the equipment alone probably would cost more than a car sometimes. So
No. All you need is hiking pants and hiking poles and a knapsack.
yeah, but you got to get there, and you got to hire the Sherpas, and do they charge for the tours and the?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and is there a fee to climb the mountains? Isn't there? Don't they have?
There's a permit that's required, but that's usually wrapped into the cost of the tour.
Anyway,
so
it's tax deductible, right?
Some of it is,
A portion of it, right.
Yes.
Good, all right, because
bet.
I couldn't live with myself if you were spending money on stuff that wasn't tax deductible.
Oh no.
As good as you are online.
I've got that part worked out, and right now I'm working with a friend who wants to put together a group to go to Machu Picchu, and so I'm helping her, and so that's part of that. I get paid for that, so
I love it.
And I'll get to go too, because that'll be wrapped into the cost of the tour to be her connector with the guide.
Talk about a lifestyle business. This is really taking it literally to the ends of the earth, right? So
got to do it while I still have the knees.
Oh yeah. So you mentioned in your introduction about the black suits. So you must have had a job. Tell us when you had a job and what was that all about?
Well, I had jobs.
I mean, you didn't work at a funeral home, did you?
No.
Suits.
Well, part of my brand with the Blog Squad, when I did meet you, is that we wore black suits. And
okay, right.
So me and my former partner.
But that wasn't the job. Before that, I'm talking.
No. Before that, I mean, I had jobs until my mid-30s. And so I worked in the arts. I worked in museums. I worked in art galleries. So I did the whole professional thing. It was more culture oriented, so I could be a little more casual, but still you had to, be dressed up and all that.
Right. But when did you start thinking about going into business for yourself?
Well, it was the mid-90s, and my then boyfriend, who was Canadian, was moving back to Canada, and he invited me to go with him, and we were going to start a business coaching practice, and I had never started a business before, and he had a little bit here and there. So I said yes, and I went with him and lived in Canada for 6 years. And I really knew nothing. And that's when I learned about the internet, and it was the early days, 96. And we ended up building a 6-figure coaching practice within 6 years. And, that got me hooked. I could not go back to a job after that.
Yeah, that's for
Even
sure.
When I moved back to California, I was just like, I can't do this. I got to do my own thing.
All right. Now, when at that time though, did you just give 2 weeks notice and I'm gone, or did you plan for this, or how did that transition go? Just out of here, I'm gone.
Yeah, it was called love. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not happy where I am, and let's go. And sold almost everything I owned except for my books and my art,
Mm-hmm.
and took that with me. And we moved to Canada, to Eastern Ontario, and no planning. We had less than zero money. we were
Less than zero.
we were just like, oh, let's just do it,
Probably had a
So
Volkswagen van with flowers on it.
yeah,
So
almost.
I noticed you are not in Canada anymore.
No,
You are back
I
in
have
San Diego? Is that right?
Los Angeles.
What's
Los
that?
Angeles.
Oh, yeah, Los Angeles.
Los
Okay.
Angeles.
Okay. Is he there too?
Nope.
He got lost
Nope.
along the way, right? Somewhere.
We married and divorced while we were there, and I moved back to Los Angeles in 2002.
Some other guest said something about it's getting divorced is good for business. I don't know if it was good for the lawyer's business or for their
Yeah,
business.
well, that's an interesting point because, in the business that I had with my former husband, it was all about him. He was the front guy. He was the one who delivered. I was the one that was figuring out all the online marketing because we were in a rural community.
Oh,
There was
okay.
there wasn't anything else going on. That's when I taught myself everything I knew about using the internet as a promotional
Mm-hmm.
vehicle. And we ended up with, clients all over the world because I was just like, wow, this internet thing is so cool,
Yeah, right.
So when we split, I left the business because, he was the one delivering the business. And then when I got back to LA, I was like, well, wait a minute. I built that business, really.
Right. That's right.
So I can do this for myself and I can do this for other people. And that's what got me started. And that was like 2003.
Kind of reminds me of you remember that TV show Remington Steele?
Vaguely.
It was Pierce Brosnan was the figurehead detective because nobody would
Right.
hire a woman as the detective, and
Right.
Stephanie
Yeah.
Zimbalist was the brains behind it.
Uh-huh.
That's what reminds me of what you just said. So,
Yeah, well, that's it took me a while to realize that, but then I did and went, oh, wait a minute, I can do this. I don't need him. And, I've been very successful, more successful than I was or we were together at that time. I've
yeah, you
grown
don't have
tremendous.
that anchors around your neck,
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So, would you suggest the same thing that you did? Just drop everything to somebody that's in their cubicle listening to this, saying, "Oh, yeah, I want to drop everything today and climb the mountains." And
No, I actually wouldn't do that. It was very stressful. We were in massive debt to every family member practically
Uh-huh.
until we got going, but we did end up paying them all back.
Good.
So
That's
that was a
good.
good thing. Yeah. But no, I would say, that's great. You want to do it, but before you quit your job, one, do you have enough money to live without any income for
Right.
at least 6 months? Or, if you do, okay, well, do it. But, you still need to do all the research first. Is there a market for your idea? Who do you want to work with? All that planning stuff. What's your message? And, if I were starting today, I would start because there's so many more tools now
Mhm. Yep.
than in 1996.
Yeah, for
Barely anybody
sure.
had a website then
Mhm.
or email. But now that with so many opportunities on the web that you can start building your presence on the web and talking about your ideas while you're building that foundation, because you still need a foundation. You still need the email list. You need the website, the blog. You need the ways that people can learn about you and get to know you and trust you and get things from you. So, but you can use social media to start building the awareness.
Yeah,
And
what's
that's
interesting
what I
is
would recommend.
it's kind of like opposite. Like in the early days, we didn't have many tools or anything to pick from, so it was
Right.
hard. And now there's so many things. Beginners don't know what to pick from. How to
Exactly.
That's what you and I help people with. So
Exactly.
there's-
And yeah.
every day there's a new thing coming down the pipe too.
Yep. and that's where my active experimentation comes in. I know
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like lots of mystery in that introduction, isn't
Right.
there?
Yeah. Yeah. So have you ever gotten screwed in business?
Well,
we follow a screw theme
yeah,
in this
I got that.
podcast,
Yeah. Never terribly. We did have, in that very first business, we did have a moment when a client called and said, I just found a website that looks exactly like yours, but it's got somebody else's name and picture on it.
Mm.
It even had the same testimonials.
Oh man.
And so that was a moment where, and it was so early on that I was like, how did this happen? Some webmaster just copied the whole thing
Yeah.
for a client
Unbelievable.
and just changed the picture and name. So basically, we did a cease and desist, and we're going to sue you if we want money from you. You got to take this down, da 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 da. And that all ended up working out. So because we didn't know how long it had been there and what kind of lost potential revenue and all that stuff. So
Well, see, the same thing happened to me, but their picture was better than mine. So I said, well, I'll leave it. Might as well leave it. So I had an upgrade there automatically.
we're just like, didn't you notice that the testimonials weren't people that you knew?
Oh, people will do anything. That's why I started that
You're
scam
kidding.
brigade, to go
Yeah.
after scammers. People, I mean, there's just no scruples out there. That's another thing that's opposite. Back in the early days, well, nobody knew what was going on. But now
Right.
people know too much what's going on, and they take advantage of new people that don't. And
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of them.
I think I feel like I've been pretty lucky, and because I haven't really had any bad, terrible things.
Good.
Occasionally there's something with a client that doesn't work out, but that happens to
Yeah,
everybody.
that's
who works with clients.
every business. So
Yeah,
anything
it's like I'm thinking that's going. I don't know. I didn't really have any bad stuff happen to me yet, and I hope I won't. So.
Okay, so have you had anything funny, bizarre happen in all these crazy trips? A donkey kick you in the head or something during your mountain climb, or I don't know what kind of stuff you get into on those mountains.
Yeah, like it's mostly going back to that time early on in Canada. Yeah, when we first got there, I mentioned that we were kind of in negative territory money-wise, and we were driving to my husband's mother's to do our laundry, and
Okay.
all of a sudden he veers off the road, and I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, there's a buck in the median.
Like a moose, you mean?
I'm like, what? A buck, a deer, a male deer.
Oh, okay. So
No
it wasn't a
moose,
moose,
a
right?
buck. No, it wasn't a moose.
All right.
And he goes dashing across this major highway and comes back and says, okay, I got to get it into the van because it's just been hit.
Oh, it was
It's
roadkill.
fresh.
You had something to eat for the week, right?
We had something to eat for a year.
I think I might do the same thing. Tell you the truth. So you didn't hit
It
it.
was crazy.
Somebody else hit it, but it was fresh.
Somebody else had hit it.
So-
Yeah.
Well, I've
Exactly.
heard stories where somebody put it in their car and it woke up. It was just stunned and just their hooves just tore the hell out of the interior, just busted the windows. So,
Oh,
you-
no, this one had been eviscerated
Okay.
already,
All
too.
right.
So,
you got
okay,
it.
we're getting into the gory stuff.
So,
That was pretty bizarre.
so what do you like best about working for yourself, and what's the worst thing about working for yourself?
Well, you can probably guess the best, freedom to travel.
Yeah, I
when and where I
guess,
want. I have to take my business with me,
I mean, how
as
much
long as
time do you spend on
I-
the road?
Not that much, but the
But
fact
you
that I
go
have
all the way when you do it.
yeah, exactly. I go on a big trip.
Right.
But also, I travel around the U.S. a lot, and I've been running for about 10 years. So we do a lot. With my running partners, I do a lot of like half marathons in other places. Like we did one outside of Grand Canyon last year, and
Wow.
so yeah. As long as I can go for a little while, I'm good.
Yeah,
Good.
that's right. So,
And the worst thing?
Yeah, the
Or do you
worst
want-
thing. The worst thing. Yeah.
For me, I would say that's isolation. even though I'm really self-motivated, I don't have trouble getting myself to work. And, I just sit down. That's what I do first thing in the morning. But, I get in my head too much sometimes and I start questioning things. So, I have to make sure I'm connecting with colleagues or friends to make sure that I, get my social stuff.
Well, it makes total sense to me, Denise, that somebody that feels isolated would climb up to 15,000 feet where there's nothing but, a few errant eagles or something. I don't know.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, but isolated. Because
Yes,
I ain't
it
going
is.
up there with you, I'll tell you that.
Well, I do go I have a friend I travel with, so
That's good.
yeah, and there's always a guide, so I'm not all by myself.
All right. So tell everybody how they could reach you or see the stuff you have to offer.
I'm at denisewakeman.com, and I am active on just about every social network as Denise Wakeman. I, keep my name. I don't,
What's this other thing, Adventure? Is there a website for that yet? Or?
Well, Adventures in Visibility goes to my primary website, adventuresinvisibility.com.
Mm-hmm.
So
and is that active yet? Is that active now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And they can, and what do? You put a lot of pictures and stuff of these trips?
Well, it's all I do things around my trips. I do a lot of that on social, on Instagram and Facebook is where I do most of my, adventure pictures. I use them a lot as metaphors for my business and for how I work with people. So I have lots of pictures of mountains and lakes and trails and things like that. So, yeah.
Okay, great. So we got to take a brief message from our sponsor, which is me, of course. And when we come back, we're going to ask you about what's a typical day look like for you, at least at sea level, and how do you stay motivated? So we'll be right back. But hey, everybody, do you know what colleges and universities are doing to you? Well, according to gradeinflation.com, they're raising grade point averages to make it look like they're doing a better job of teaching when there's speaking of that, a mountain of evidence. I know that was in my script here. Perfect. Mountain of evidence, and Andy's Machu Picchu of evidence that they aren't really teaching the people. And I want you to really watch the eye-opening higher education webinar at screwthecommute.com/53. This is episode 53. That's also where you'll find all the great stuff about Denise and her sites and all that. But this could potentially save yourself and possibly your loved ones, friends, and neighbors literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt when you go for higher education. So check that out. It's a 90-minute webinar, but 90 minutes is worth it to save hundreds of thousands of dollars. All right, let's get back to the main event. Denise.
Yes.
I knew you were ready to screw earlier, but are you ready to tell us what a typical day at sea level looks like for you? And you can even include when you're planning for a trip. That seems interesting.
Okay. Yes, I'm ready. Okay.
All right. Tell us what a typical day is like for you. This lifestyle business of yours.
Yeah, I am up early, and
what's that mean? That's a subjective thing.
Yeah, between 5 and 6 a.m.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a morning person.
Yep.
That's when I'm most productive. That's when I feel the best. I got the most energy. I go straight for the coffee. That's my thing. I grind the beans. I set it up. It's just my ritual.
All right.
Feed my cat Louie.
Hey, Louie.
Yeah, Louie Cators. And then
what happens to the cat? Wait a minute. What happens to the cat when you go on these trips?
My neighbor loves my cat.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yes.
All right.
I have no problem
Does
there.
the cat get mad when you come back and or try to destroy things because you left it?
Not too much, no.
Okay. But some.
No. He's usually pretty happy to see me when I get back.
All
so.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you feed the cat. Then what?
Then I I'm at my desk and I start. I do what everybody says not to do, and I scan my email first and deal with email.
Me too. Same thing.
My whole business basically is about communicating with people,
Right.
and it goes 24/7 email. I mean, people don't expect me to answer 24/7, but if there's something from a client or a potential client or a colleague or whatever, I'm going to answer it in the morning.
I'm totally on that. Yep. A lot of people just hide. That's why their business suffers. They say, "Oh, I can't stand all these emails." Well, that's where the money is in this business.
You bet. You bet. So, and then it's like, okay, what's on my list? What do I need to do to serve my clients today?
Some
What do I need
examples,
to
like
do to be?
what could those be?
Well, I do a lot of one-on-one work, working with, as I said, authors and online business owners. I mentor them through that process of building up their online foundation, or if they're doing a book launch, we'll be working through that. So it's either doing it via email or it's doing it I use Zoom for video meetings. I meet almost exclusively on video now with my clients and students. And so I don't really do done for you, but I do done with you because I have very deep knowledge of how these things work. If I need to bring in a VA or somebody to do the implementation, then cool, I'll do that.
I got to give people a warning here. When you see done for you programs, it should put red flags up for you, because most of them are more like done to you rather than done for you, because to do all the things that need done to be successful on any particular project would cost a lot of time and manpower, woman power to get it done. And when they give you this cheap price and claim they're going to do all this stuff and claim all these big results, that should drive red flags up. It should cost a lot of money if somebody's going to actually do a good job for you. So be careful when you see those. Yeah. Well, you know me, I'm not going to put up with the BS that's
No,
out
I really appreciate that, because, people come to me and they want done for them. I'm like, okay, well, how much money do you have?
Exactly.
And they don't want to pay what it's going to cost. So it's like, I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to help you make it happen, but I'm not going to do it for you. I will take your hand and walk you through it. You need to know how this works. I will even help you hire someone. I will help you manage that person, but you need to know how this stuff works.
That's exactly how we run things here, because even if you did do it for them, they'd be stuck forever and ever for paying maintenance fees and getting charged a fortune for things that should cost almost nothing because they're clueless. So it doesn't serve them in the long run. I mean, if you're filthy rich and don't care, okay. But for most of the people that are trying to start a business and keep their costs down, the more knowledge you get, the better off you are, and you're not eating money or spending money all the rest of your life.
Exactly. And, I'll answer every question you have. I'll show you what tools to use. I'll show you how to use the tool. So, and, that's probably why we connected so well, back in whenever it was, 2005, I think.
Yep.
2005, yeah. So, so it can be a lot of different ways that I'm working with people. And I do have a community that I've started that's really for authors and online entrepreneurs who have taken so many classes, and they've studied with the gurus and all that stuff, but they haven't really done it. They don't need more knowledge. They need the support and accountability to start working on it and get things done. And have someone to implementation. That is huge. And and they can get that in the community. So from others and from me.
All right. So what if you're not doing client stuff? I mean, you just said you ran marathons. When do you have time to
half marathons?
Get your running in?
Usually in the night and on the weekends. I've been meeting with the same group of friends for over 10 years now. And we almost always, without fail, some combination of us meet on the weekend to run or hike or walk, depending on what kind of injuries and various things.
That keeps increasing as you get older, right?
Oh boy, yes, yes.
Wow.
I'm moving more from running to hiking.
So you probably know a lot about shoes, then, I'll bet.
Shoes?
Yeah, like running and hiking shoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, a
because
little bit. Yeah, I own a lot of them.
and why? Why do you own a lot of them?
Well,
Because you
running
need different ones.
shoes.
Well,
Yeah,
running shoes are different than hiking for sure.
yeah, running shoes. I own a lot of them because they wear out pretty
Right.
quickly if you're consistently moving.
Mine have
And
lasted
also,
like 22 years, one pair.
okay, well, mine don't. But and also I run trails and run hard,
So that's a different
hard
shoe,
surfaces.
or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's better traction with trail shoes.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of mountains around me in LA, contrary to
Yeah,
what people may think.
sure.
There's lots of trail running around me, and I love that. And for
But it's
hiking
always
boots,
with somebody, right? I mean, you stay
yes,
safe,
yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah,
yes. I don't do this by myself.
right,
I'm
right.
too lazy. I wouldn't do it if it was by myself. I do it for the social as well as the
Okay,
exercise
there you go.
and the challenge. So, yeah, it's the introvert in me. It's like, no, I don't need to go out of my house. Oh, yes, you do, Denise. You have to go out and like do something. So, yeah, and hiking boots, it's finding the right pair for what you're doing. I've gone through a couple pairs that I was not very happy with when I was in the moment of the hike. So,
Oh, that's not good. You
yeah,
you can't turn around and go, oh,
yeah,
yeah, let me
exactly,
try another pair.
exactly. But for the next one, it's like, okay, I'm trying another pair the next time.
Hey, what
So,
about, I hear these people hiking the Appalachian Trail. Why don't you try that
mhm.
one of these days?
Well, it's something I'd like to do
It only
sometime.
takes 3 or
For
4
sure.
months. I mean, I think
Yeah,
they got Wi-Fi along the way. You could do it.
probably,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, that would be cool. That
All
would be
right.
cool.
So what keeps you motivated?
The constant discovery, the constant discovery
From
of
your
new things.
experimentation.
Yes, exactly. I'm very curious about a lot, whether it's, travel, whether it's books, whether it's movies, whether it's new strategies, tactics, tools. Something new comes down the line. It's like, okay, I'm going to try this.
You're going
And
to
I
try
always
it
say,
before you teach it to your students because that's
exactly,
part of your value to them.
exactly, exactly. And so it taps into something I love to do anyway.
Hmm.
So, and that's where, when I sort of realized that that's what I was always doing in my life, and that, or like my business, and that the travel is the same curiosity and discovery and experimentation in a different way in my personal. That's when I said these things have to be combined now, because it's a much better message for me,
Hmm.
in terms, I can be much more congruent in everything that I'm doing.
All right. So do you have any parting thoughts for all our screwballs out there? We call them screwballs.
I love that. Yeah, if you're going to do it, commit.
Mhm.
Commit yourself.
Yeah, run
And
up to Canada, get married,
yeah,
you know, go
exactly.
be broke, owe people money, just do something. Jeez.
Do something, exactly. Because, in the end, your passion and love for what you're doing does come shining through. But if
Hmm.
you're not committed, it won't come through. And that's not attractive to people. So just do it.
Well, you've attracted a lot of great clients over the years. I've never heard a bad word about you ever. I don't know,
Okay.
maybe from your old
No.
partner or something, but
Oh.
no. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So, so everybody check out Denise's stuff. She's quite an adventure, quite a woman in our space, in our internet marketing space. This show is not only about internet marketing, but it's a
Mhm.
big part of every business now. So
Yep.
you can't ignore this facet of it for sure. And she's been in this space for a long, long time and has been around the block, so to speak,
Yep.
in an internet marketing kind of way. And
Yep.
I guess from a running point, she's been around a lot of blocks. So
Been around a lot of those blocks, and I've been up a couple of mountains. So
there you go. So thanks so much, Denise, for stopping by and chatting with us. I'm sure everybody's going to want to check out your stuff. And hey, everybody, if you're new to podcasts, please subscribe and review. We've got instructions on how to do it at screwthecommute.com. Make sure you check out Denise's stuff at screwthecommute.com/53. That's this episode. And check out our show notes, and also make sure you listen to that higher education webinar, or pass it on to somebody you know that needs it. because you will really thank me for it, because you'll save hundreds of thousands of dollars. All right, Denise, thank you so much. And everybody, we will catch you on the next episode. See you later.